Hi everybody, welcome once again to Out of the Ordinary into the Extraordinary. I'm Robert Taylor and you're coming on TV5 from the channel, Grosse Pointe War Memorial. If you frequently watch our show, you know we try to bring you people on the show we feel are exceptional in their fields. We venture into the metaphysical realm, into the healing realm, and also into the creative arts. And today we've got a great guest. We've had him on the show before. He's a wonderful graphologist, and for those of you who don't know what that is a handwriting expert. We're also welcoming some very special guests from Harper Woods High School. Welcome. And welcome Robert Haskins to the show. How are you, Robert?
Thank you. Great.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has been.
Now, for those of us in the audience who don't know what you do, graphology, handwriting, analysis. Tell us a little bit about that. Okay,
well, to begin with, handwriting is brain writing. When you write, your signature is an expression of your conscious mind. Anything other than your signature is an expression of your subconscious mind. We call it graphotherapy. And graphotherapy coincides with psychotherapy, invented in the 1890s by Freud and Jung. They advocated that learned experiences from the inner mind help to shape behavior, and childhood experiences shape us into who we are. But when you write for us, we can tell you what you're doing in your life right now, what you've been doing for the past 3 to 5 years, what you've done in your childhood that you brought in your adulthood that's affecting you, namely emotional repression, fear, failure, frustrations, anxiousness, extrovert, introvert, suicidal tendencies, manic depressive states, just to mention a few, such that we don't try to impress you, but we let you know that God didn't make any junk, that nobody can tell you what to do but yourself, and before you do anything, mentally or physically, you have to tap into yourself. You have to find out how qualified you are, how ready you are. And upon doing this, then we help you eliminate stress in your life.
That's wonderful.
Let me go a step further in that everybody writes different. No two people write alike. So the approach to eliminating stress, to finding out more about oneself, comes from each individual's mind, in that handwriting is brain writing. You can't write like someone else, and you can't forge. Another portion of my duties is to be a document analyst.
Now you've done a lot of work for the FBI, for the police.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for instance, if they have a potential suspect criminal, you go in there and you can see from the handwriting.
Yes, we can see from the handwriting. I might comment on some different things that I've been doing as far as criminals and crime. I had the opportunity, and I say opportunity, to deal with all the children who were killing their classmates. And I did an assessment of 5 of the children, 4 of them that killed themselves and 2 of them that didn't. And from a mental, physical aspect, I found out that all of them were dealing with ADD, which is attention deficit disorder. And it wasn't because of a defect in the mental lobe, but it was because of environmental, metal, and chemical poisons. People don't realize today how we are affected by metal and chemical poisons. Then I went a step further. I took down my research on the troubles at the automotive company, as well as the post office. And I found out
shootings.
Yes, the shootings. And I found out that they too were suffering from ADD. And it wasn't because of the mental lobe, but it was because of environmental, metal, and chemical poisons.
Now, apart from your handwriting expertise, you also work helping people with herbs.
Yes, I do. I tell everyone I'm not a doctor, a medical doctor, but I'm a homeopathic practitioner as well as a master herbologist. From the handwriting, we can discern physical defects, and we can tell by our process called herbal tracer analysis, we can tell what herbs the body needs for the heart, the kidneys, the lungs, the colon, the pancreas, the digestive system. As well as we can tell whether people have ADD or ADHD. Okay.
Now these herbs that you use, that you're expert in, can actually eliminate these environmental poisons?
Yes, they can. We start out on 3 levels. We have to, first of all, deal with the organs that are out of balance, that have allowed the symptoms to rear their head, such as the parasites, environmental and metal and chemical poisons, as well as infections. And this brings in another phase. We've heard about the bacterial meningitis. I've done 7 cases, 5 people who have perished, 2 people that are still existing right now. In terms of the infectious diseases, they had hepatitis A, B, C, they had bacteria, they had viruses, and also viroids, Coxsacks and Salmonella, all which was interpreted from the graphology.
It's amazing.
From the herbal tracer crystallization analysis.
So first off, somebody comes to you for a handwriting analysis. You can see on the physical, mental, spiritual level where this person is at. And then if they want to go further, you even introduce them to certain things that can help them eradicate these difficulties.
Yes, exactly, all of the above. What we try and do is very unbiased approach. We don't deal with anyone who doesn't want this done. There's been several cases where people have been accosted and they would fax the report to me, their write-up as to why they did what they did, and I would look at the handwriting and find out how intense the emotional outbursts that end in criminal acts are, as well as how the suicidal tendencies are, the manic depressive states, the inability to maintain mental discipline and keep things down to earth, as well as I would also look at the physical condition, and more so as of the last 6 years, because as of the last 2 years, because of the ADD, abnormal tendencies, erratic behavior, environmental, metal, and chemical poisons. Because, as I said earlier, God didn't make any junk. We all are beautiful people.
Divine beings.
Exactly, divine beings. But
there's a soul in there.
Exactly, 100%, Robert. But if we've been affected, it throws it all off. It's just like Robert Downey Jr. right now. Well, he's so infected mentally and physically with parasites and environmental, metal, and chemical poisons. The kids that shot up their classmates, they are infected with...
Well, and you know, today the kids have to deal with so much in terms of violent images in the media. You think about how much radiation we're exposed to as far as all the satellites out there, the radio waves. And then I got to throw in this one is the food.
Okay. This falls under the avenue, the umbrella of the parasites, the environmental, metal, and chemical poisons, the polarity balance, the adults. I might make this comment. ADD is not just a child's disease. It's not just a little boy's disease. I have been working with people any place from 10 years old all the way up to 70. And it's been not because of the frontal lobe, as I just said, but it's because of environmental, metal, and chemical poisons.
So it's a physical thing?
Yes. The nitrate, the arsenic, the plumb bomb, the lead that's in our bodies is killing us. The parasites that are in our bodies.
And is this what we call free radicals?
Right.
Yeah, these are all toxins that need to be eliminated from the system.
Yes, exactly.
So when somebody eliminates all these toxins, they're going to be a lot better off mentally.
Right. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. And it brings us right back down to our main thrust this year for 2001 is to eliminate stress in people's lives on a mental, physical level.
Well, you know, Robert, in fact, I've watched a few documentaries on the medical world, and most doctors are now saying that's going to be the biggest killer in the next century, in this century. 2000, you know, in the 2000s, we're going to see stress is the most difficult thing to combat. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree 100% plus. And I say it that way is because stress is like an infection, okay? And we have to clear it up. It's a mental and physical thing. Because when we're out of balance mentally, then the best of us are going to act erratic. We've been filled with Ritalin, Prozac, downers and uppers, and as a result, it throws our whole body off. People are trying to lose weight, and they're taking all those weight loss things and antibiotics on a dirty body. And I'm saying that before you do anything, you must have a clean body, mentally and physically.
Beautiful.
And this is what we do when we do a handwriting analysis and a crystallization of your body.
One person I know that was a very wise person from the East would say everything would be taken care of. It's like if you have $100,000 in your bank account, you don't have to worry about your $1 or $2 problems. Everything begins with spiritual life, spiritual realization. That when a person has peace, good sense of self, understanding that they are the soul, the divine within, then everything else comes. Would you agree that's a very important element?
Again, 100%. I contend that an unexamined life is not worth living. Know thyself.
Beautiful.
This is the first premise. And the second premise is that we have to realize, even though we might not be spiritual, that a long time ago a man says, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. And the promise, lo, I will be with you always. Even if you're not spiritual, Robert, if you take to heart what has been said, like directions to build a car, a rector said, and take it to heart and believe it, then you'll be able to look into yourself. And once you look into yourself and say to yourself in the mirror, do I like you? Do I like what I see? And if you don't, have the goodness of your heart to do something about it. This is where we come in again with your handwriting. It's brain writing.
It's like, it's almost like those lines are a manifestation of your consciousness.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, so if somebody, and I did happen to watch a great show on Frontline, PBS, and they did a fabulous documentary on the boy in Oregon who shot his mother, then his father, then his classmates. Now here's a boy that grew up in a place called Shangri-La in the woods. His mom and dad were teachers, but it was concluded he was ADD. And they even showed a sample of his handwriting because he kept a diary. This is one disturbed guy. I wasn't an expert on handwriting. You could see from that handwriting that boy was very disturbed. So here's somebody who was apparently in a beautiful atmosphere. You know, you're living in Oregon and loving parents. One thing it did show was his father was too heavy on him.
Okay, this is great. And I hope that I might be able to get a copy of this documentary. The main thing is that when you have your handwriting analyzed, or when you have the crystallization process in terms of your physical being, you can have this done 6 months before something happens. So my thrust today is to do the in-depth assessment on people. I go into companies and I do it. I go into schools and I do it. In the companies, I do it as an extended employee annual review under the umbrella of normal employee annual reviews, so that everybody gets it, from the CEO down to the janitor. And I highlight the fact that we deal with communicability, productivity, and performance. I also highlight the fact that we will increase communicability, productivity, and performance 30%. You can take it to the bank. And they say, Mr. Haskins, what do you mean? You can guarantee us 20 to 30%. I said, try this on for size. We tried talking. I said, try this on for size. If you had a chance to have a beautiful massage, okay, rest and recuperation for a week, all the pampering, wouldn't you feel better about yourself? When we set you down and reintroduce you to yourself in terms of your emotional disposition, your aspiration level, your sensitivity, your explorativeness, your mental communicability, your faith in yourself, etc., you have a chance to
That's right.
hear all of your latent talents.
So one thing you might find because we're going to have a couple of the seniors from the group come up.
That's great.
One thing you might be able to do is even introduce people to certain great abilities they may have that they don't even know about yet.
Exactly. Well, this is the whole thrust. This is the whole thrust. And when we do this with the Master's blessings, we do it in such a way that we don't overfeed them. And as you acquire the knowledge, it's like a length of chain that can be silver, sterling, and gold. And you can pull it up, think about it, associate it, and relate with it.
You know, one thing I'd like to mention, especially with kids with us, there's a great educational system called the Waldorf system.
Yes.
And I've had Waldorf teachers on the show. And the Waldorf philosophy is a little different because their philosophy is you make each individual the best that they can be. Now, if you look at the Waldorf alumni, they have somebody who's the vice president of American Express. They have Hollywood actors. And then they may have somebody as a mechanic. They may have somebody, all sorts of walks of life. And their philosophy is that each individual has a contribution. We need to make that person the best and to love what they do. You know, so if somebody's going to be if somebody has the great ability to be a carpenter, let's make them the best. And I think we tend to, in our system today, we want everybody to be, you know, academic, etc. Maybe not everybody, you know, is that way inclined.
Well, I agree with you. I'll go a step further. Our society has done preventive maintenance on everything but the mind. No one ever asked you, how you feel, Robert? What do you want to do? What makes you happy? They said, well, you're in this status now, and you're in this society, and you're in this group, and you have to... No one ever asked anyone. So this is why 90% of the people that you meet each day are dealing with fear of failure and emotional repression. And I'm talking about from Bill Gates on down to the President of the United States to people that are in our audience. And this is what we try to do, is to try to let them hear that an unexamined life is not worth living. Know thyself. We have a choice. We can either look at life in terms of how full the cup is or how empty it is.
Isn't it a lot about following your dreams, having a focus? You know, especially we have our kids here now. They're at a very important part of life. We've got some seniors here. They're about to make that transition into the world. What is it you're dreaming of? Who do you want to be? So, if I just read the biography of J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah. So she finally manifested her dream, you know.
Well, as far as the children, students, I shouldn't call them children, but as far as the students are concerned, we, with God's blessings, can let them know exactly who they are and what they are. And if they're soaring now like eagles, with the little turkey inputs every once in a while, we can help them. Not tell them what to do, but bring out the latent talents. And when you told me that they were going to be on the program, I was excited because I'm always happy to open their eyes.
Because they're the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not telling them what to do, but to open up all the goodness. And I think, did we have a couple samples?
We have, and just to remind everybody that we are with a master graphologist, handwriting expert, Mr. Robert Haskins. And any more information you want about Robert, you can contact him through right here at the War Memorial at 881-7511. He incidentally does, in fact, go to high schools and things for graduation parties. But anyway, we're going to have two of our students come on. And first of all, a very nice young lady, Jennifer Malaga. Let's give Jennifer a welcome. You can clap your hands out there. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great. Okay, to begin with, Jennifer, your emotional disposition, excuse me, your emotional disposition, the way that you deal with yourself as well as the way that you deal with others, is such that you're into yourself and you're ruled by the head. You're cold to people until they get to know you, but once they get to know you, they find out that you're a sweetheart. You're the type of person that when you explore the unknown, you're a meticulous, creative, explorative person that doesn't go to step 2 until 1 is done, such that you can be assured of knowing what you're doing and accomplishing the task with gusto, dynamism, love, and understanding. You're also the type of person that's persistent. You work well under duress. People are freaking out, and you're taking care of business in terms of having a genuinely desire to accomplish the tasks that you set out to accomplish. You're also analytical, the type that unpretentiously you don't accept anything on hearsay. And you compare everything that you read about, you listen to, you experience with your present knowledge and beliefs, such that you can be assured of knowing what you're doing and accomplishing the task with gusto, dynamism, love, and understanding. When you are into yourself, you're into yourself by choice rather than by chance. And you're the type of person that will come out of being into yourself as you open up and acknowledge more of your abilities. There's been times when you've let people influence you, people who aren't near as knowledgeable as you are. But this will change as you open up and understand more about yourself. You're the type of person that respects yourself in terms of where you're coming from. But you're hard on yourself. There's times when you goof up and you say, "Ugh, why did I do that?" But you have to stop that. Before you say, "Ugh," you stop and you look at all of what has transpired. I like to say, look at all the parts that constitute the whole of what is. And then once you look at the parts, then you'll say, "Oh, wow, I know that." I didn't pause enough because I didn't take time to realize that I hadn't had enough faith in myself. But now you can. You're also imaginative. And your imagination is going to get better in that you haven't forgotten how to dream. And you can bring your dreams into the realm of reality. You also have the ability to make decisions. So now, let's recap this. You're ruled by the head. You're the type of person that's a very knowledgeable person. You're what we call a no-nonsense individual. But you need to increase your faith in yourself. You need to stop and look at what you have accomplished. And upon finding out that 2 + 2 is 4, then you'll see that 2 + 1 + 1 is 4. That 1 + 1 + 2 is 4. And then you can thank the Master, or God, or the deity, or Buddha, for who you are and what you are.
I like that. Such
that you can step into the rest of your life. You're like, they say in corporate America, you're at a need-to-know point in your life where you need to hear what you're doing right now, what you've done for the past 3 to 5 years, what you've done in your childhood that you brought up into your adulthood, namely the fear of failure, the emotional repression, the frustrations and anxiousness, such that once this is exposed to you, then consciously, relaxedly, you can allow this to become a foundation to step off into the rest of your life.
That was fabulous. Absolutely. We have a gem right here. She's a gem.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. A gem.
We have another gem coming on.
Okay.
Mr. Steve Smitka.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was beautiful. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good.
Great. Okay, here we. Oh God.
I'll tell you something. I bet he plays sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit, you know. I have one of my buddies would say, "Okay, just because I'm 101,000 pounds, it's no sign that I would make a good linebacker." I said, "Well, couldn't fool me." Anyway, Steve, your emotional disposition is such that you're ruled by the head and you're ruled by the heart. And you're the type of person that when you explore the unknown, you're what we call an instinctual thinker. And your instinctual ability is going to get better as you open up and acknowledge more about yourself. When I say you're instinctual, you can listen to a person talking before they finish a sentence, you know what they're going to say. You can enter into a conversation, be there a few minutes, and you can take it over. You're a good person, and you can be depended on to put the square pegs in the square holes. But right now you're going through some frustration, some anxiousness. And it's important, and it's good that you're hearing what's coming from your subconscious mind right now, such that you can realize, as I said twice earlier, that God didn't make any junk, that nobody can tell you what to do but yourself. There's been times when you have been up, and then times when you've been down, and times when you've been up, and times when you've been down. We're talking about a person that is going through, you know, changes in terms of opening up to yourself. You're also the type of person that you have insight and intuition, psychic abilities, but you're afraid of it. And you haven't been using it as much as you will. And it's been a saving grace for you, Steve, in that when you're ruled by the head, which you are, and matter of fact with people, because of your insight and your psychic abilities, you treat people according to their mentality. You give them credence for where they're coming from. If you couldn't help them, you darn sure wouldn't hurt them. And you're the type of person that's also special. You're benevolent. You've been doing some benevolent things already, and you're going to do some more. The easiest way to get on the bad side of you is to tell you what to do. You don't like to be told what to do. But you do something about it, in that you come early and you stay late, and you try not to put yourself in a position of being told more than once what to do. If anything, you'll ask before being told the second time. You're also dealing with things are too crowded, they're tight. And as I was telling Jennifer, you need to back off. Stop and go in McDonald's and sit in the back and don't order that French fries. And just look at what has transpired. Regroup before you step out. Look at all the parts that constitute the whole of what is, and then go forward.
Robert, we've come to the end of the show.
Oh.
Did a fabulous job. Once again, we've been with Mr. Robert Haskins, Master Graphologist. We'd like to thank Steve and Jennifer, all the staff and students of Harper Woods High School for joining us. And thank you for joining us. And don't forget, God is alive and magic is afoot.
Yes.